As a child, I grew up in a southern Missouri town just north of the Ozark mountain range. There were about 10,000 people living there, and for the most part, they preferred to keep to themselves. It was a weirdly mentally, if you've never ran into often in the South. During the summer following my second year of elementary school, all of that would change. In this town, there was only one provider for television. It was an old cable provider known as Ozark Cable, which served as southern Missouri and northern Arkansas. It only broadcast 10 channels, and given that the satellite wasn't available within 100 miles from my town, I had to make the best of it. In fact, the only children's programming available was Tom and Jerry reruns, which was broadcasted out of Little Rock on Saturday mornings. Needless to say, my options for cartoons weren't particularly extraordinary. At the beginning of the summer vacation following second grade, my family received a notice from Ozark Cable, as the other 10,000 residents in town. The statement noted how a new high-tech broadcasting station wants to complete construction just north of town. In addition, my town would be receiving 30 new channels, including Nickelodeon. I was excited, as any child my age would be. Hell, I would finally be able to watch new cartoons anytime during this week. During the third week of summer vacation, the broadcasting channel went operational, and my small town finally entered the digital range. Static no longer interrupted the regular programming. Show lineups no longer switched without notice, and of course I finally had Rocco's Modern Life. Overall, I was pretty happy 7-year-old kid. That's when it all started. I heard it at first from one of my friends. Apparently, his parents had been watching a late-night entertainment around midnight or 1 in the morning when a sporadic interferences with the broadcast began to occur. Images of eyeless man flashed on the screen seconds at a time, accompanied by a startling loud white noise. Apparently, it was loud enough to wake my friend up. Unsettled, his parents contacted the cable provider and notified them about the incident, and they were subsequently told that it would be looked into. However, the problem persisted. Eventually, it became so frequent and widespread throughout the town that my parents actually prohibited me from watching any television between midnight and dawn. Not that I was interested in doing so anyway. Soon no one watched any late night television, and there were rumors of television sporadically turning on displaying the eyeless man, seeming to reach out towards the viewer. They were just rumors. One Thursday morning while my dad was at work, my mom needed to run down into town and pick up a prescription from a local pharmacy. Normally I was forced to accompany her on her daily expeditions to town, but after begging to stay home to watch a new episode of Ren and Stimpy, she surrendered and left me to do her errand. After sneaking a few cookies, I sat in front of the TV and waited for the episode to begin. The episode began as usual with a catchy theme song and glimpses into antics of the characters. Then the picture went black, and you can only imagine how enraged I was. I had been waiting all week for this new episode, only for the channel to go out. After practically around the TV room, in a fit of childhood frustration, I sat in front of the TV and waited for the broadcast date to resume. A brief spark of static appeared on screen, and I sat in eager anticipation for the episode to resume. Images of decomposing, disemboweled bodies filled the screen, accompanied by ear-piercing screams that filled the house. I immediately ran out of the TV room, but not before looking back at the television. A man with bloodied holes for eyes seemed to approach the screen without his livid, decaying arm reaching out. I hid under the dining room table and began to sob hysterically. In my fit of nauseated terror, I vomited on the floor. When my mother came in, she seemed to jump back at the noises that consumed the house and immediately dropped her bags and pulled me out from under the table. I was in hysterical and my face was pale with fear. Before I could answer my mother about what's going on, she entered the TV room. The screaming stopped. She unlocked the television. When I finally told her what happened, we heard a knock at the door. It was my friend and his parents. He was sobbing and he was hiding his face against his mother's shirt. They experienced the exact same thing I did. Everyone in town did. Almost immediately, local law enforcement became involved due to the nature of the images. After a week of no television and sleeping in my parents' bed, the local police department issued a statement. It wasn't as conclusive as we witnessed. About 5 months before the original notice regards a new broadcasting center, Ozark Cable bought a piece of land that belonged to a long-abandoned sanitarium and site burial ground. In addition to demolishing the cryptic building, over 200 bodies were exhumed and cremated without warrant to make room for the mile of underground cables. Ozark Cable was immediately fined for its owner and prosecuted. After 3 months of legal battles, the cable company eventually shut down, with satellite television taking its place soon after. The source of images remains unknown. It is also unknown how the broadcasts even happened in the first place.